surveys in post-ops, surveys for new patients, surveys for allergy shot people, and allergy testing so that we can get a full snapshot of what was your experience like? Where did we miss the mark? How can we get better? So I'm super excited about that. And then Riley's been working on some retargeting stuff as well, so you may see or get some questions about that. But we're basically just trying to understand how can we pull these people back in, right? They fall off. It may be because they didn't get enough education, maybe because they don't understand maybe the entire process. So she's working really hard to figure out how we can bring those patients back too. Sound good? Okay, it's still me. It's like I wish I could go off screen, but I can't. But I'm really excited to be here with y'all today because we are introducing a new service standard. So as you know, we have been going through a series on our service standards the last few weeks. Dr. Masterson, has been tweaking some of them. We kept some the same, but it's all been in an effort to truly get to how can we best serve our patients and how can we be the best team possible. So today we're going to talk about have a backbone, disagree, and commit. And this is all about courage and commitment. So I believe that I was given the honor to speak about this one because it has one of my greatest strengths, but it also has one of my greatest downfalls. We all know I got a backbone. We all know I'm not afraid to talk up when I think something's wrong, but I do have a problem sometimes in committing if I don't necessarily think it's a great idea, and I'm also not afraid to tell you that, but sometimes it's not my place to say that. And I think, too, we have this idea in society that if you're a good team, you don't argue. If you're a good team, you're always on the same page all the time. Newsflash, that is not correct. There is rarely a time that we go into an executive team meeting where we are all on the same page. And if we are, that's probably means that there may be something off and someone's not saying something. Now, I'm not talking about it's a WWE SmackDown, and maybe 2 years ago, Dr. Masterson and I, that is sometimes what the executive team meetings would look like as we're screaming at each other. We've gotten better at that. Thank you, glass walls. But it is a fairy tale if you think that a good team is always just on the same page. Every single meeting that you're in, you should have some type of disagreement. Not that it needs to be, again, this fight where there's disrespect or there's tension, but sometimes it's that healthy tension. It's I don't know that I think that's the right thing to do, but here's why. Or I don't know that I'm tracking with what you're saying. I need to have more information. You have to be able to really work through things that are not always clear, but you also have to be willing to disagree because sometimes that's when we get to the best thing. When a team is working for the betterment of the business, then that means everybody's on the same page. You're already committed to the business. You're already committed to wanting the best for the patients and for the people in the room. Now you've got the safety to, again, disagree, make sure we're getting to the right thing, and sharing what we think. So, y'all know that I had to bring them back, my bulls here. Can't have a lecture without them. But again, I think it is always a great way of understanding this is a championship winning team. But what you see, again, is this end result. They won the championship. They won multiple championships. But what a lot of people don't realize is in order to get to those championships, there was a lot of disagreement. There was a lot of stuff that went on behind the scenes. You can listen to any interview from this specific team, the 1998 Bulls, and you will hear that Michael Jordan was an absolute menace in practice because he was always pushing you. He was always pushing himself, but he was always pushing the team as well. There were fist fights in those practices. There were screaming matches in those practices. But what happened every single night? This. They were able to come together and be committed to that one goal. And it was to lift that trophy so that they could be the champions of that season. And that's what we want to get to here. We want to get to the point where in the day-to-day, in the meetings, we're able to have a backbone, we're able to disagree, but at the end of the day, we're able to commit to the overall vision and make sure that we're moving the ball forward. Because healthy conflict isn't dysfunction. It means that we are a high-functioning team. So there's 3 elements to this. We are going to respectfully challenge decisions when something feels off. We're going to speak up, even when it's uncomfortable. And once a decision is made, we're going to commit fully and help it succeed. So let's dig in. We've got respectfully challenge. Now, this can sometimes be where my downfall comes in because your girl's got an attitude. She does, and it's true. This has been something I've really had to learn over time because, again, it's not bad to disagree, right? I think that's where we all get hung up, is that we think, oh, if I disagree, that's the disrespectful part. But it's not. Disagreeing is great. Disagreeing means that we're getting somewhere. It means, okay, yes, I didn't think about it like that. Let me maybe rethink that. And so that's why I wanted to put this up here for us to see. Because this is a disagreement, but it just is in the way that we say it that makes it able to be a productive and positive conversation. So let's set the scene. We're in a meeting. We're talking about a new idea that somebody has. Marley has a new idea. She's super pumped about it. So she gets going, and she is just like rattling it off. Harley's sitting there, and she's like, that doesn't work because of this. But Marley is super excited about it. I think that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. I don't think that's going to work. No, none of that's going to work. That thought process is not necessarily bad, right? Dr. Masterson says this all the time. He's like, please shoot holes in this idea if it's bad. Because he has decided in his mind, he knows that he's good regardless of if somebody thinks it's a bad idea, and he knows he can only get better. So that same situation's happening here. Marley's got the idea, but Harley's got some really good feedback for it. She can either take this posture when Marley's done, and she can be like, okay, that's dumb and that's never going to work. What's that going to do? Sure, it was a disagreement. It may be true. That idea may not be good. But all that's going to do is now create tension between Marley and Harley. That's not good. And then Marley's going to walk away from that conversation feeling very just bad about herself, not able to continue productively throughout the meeting. But instead, if we can respectfully challenge and not just challenge, we can come over here and say, hey, I don't know that piece made sense to me. Can we walk through that one more time? That allows Marley, she can go back, walk through one more time. Harley can then say, okay, I've got it. It's this piece right here that doesn't make sense. I feel like patients aren't going to understand that. Do you see what I'm talking about? Can you share some perspective on that? We want to make sure that we're not being critical, but what? Curious. Always curiosity over being critical. Because again, truth is not bad, but truth without grace, that's where it's just mean. And again, we're not getting a productive conversation. It's really about having a film room culture. And I think sometimes we get into this mindset of like, I can't challenge because that person's going to be mad at me. So like what we just talked about, this is all about you, right? I have to take the posture of, can you walk me through that again? Hey, I don't know that I understand that part, but I love this idea and I want to learn more. This, having a culture of a film room, is what we have to create for somebody to have that safety to say that. And so this, a wonderful, I believe it's ChatGPT, thank you, please, is a great way of explaining this. So after any game, win or lose, a team will come together, they sit in their film room, and they go frame by frame on those games. And they say things like, you missed that rotation. Hey, that was a really easy layup. What happened there? You were open, but no one threw you the ball. All of that language is going on. People are calling each other out left and right. But they're not taking it personal, right? Because it was a mistake. It happened, but they move on. But it's true. We've got to get better before the next game. But that is because they have all walked into that room. They all collectively know, I'm the best of the best. I may have made a mistake, but that doesn't mean that I'm not good anymore. Just because I may have missed that three-pointer Just because I didn't set that screen correctly, just because I fouled out, doesn't mean that anything about me is different. It just means I have to get better the next time. I believe it's Steph Curry, but I really love this idea, and I think if I've heard it from a lot of different players, but it's this idea of these reporters, when they go into the press room after a game, win or lose, they'll be like, what were you thinking after you missed all those shots? I hear a lot when I'm watching games. It's like Sabrina Ionescu's only 1 from 3 of the floor, 1 of 8 from the floor. They're constantly talking about how badly these people are shooting. But what's so crazy to me is I'm like, these are some of the best shooters in the world. But all we can do is focus on what they're doing. That's bad. But if the player's in that mindset, that could tear them apart. But they're not. They're in the mindset of, what were you thinking when you missed that shot? I wasn't, because I was already thinking about the next one I was going to take. I was already thinking about how I was going to be better defensively. I'm thinking about how I'm going to be better offensively. I'm not taking it personal. So when I tell Harley, hey, we fell short of this in the clinic day, she either has a choice of being like, I'm the worst clinical facilitator there ever was, or she can believe, no, I'm wonderful at my job. I lead my team well. I love what I do. Thank you so much for that feedback. I will work on that. Because again, she knows she's good, but she knows I'm also just trying to better the team in general. Again, we want to have a film room culture. It's not about us, but we also want to respectfully challenge in those moments too. Next up, we've got speak up, even when it's hard. I think this is going to be, again, the biggest hurdle for a lot of us to get over. And that, I really want to focus on this quote, and that is, silence is safe, but it rarely makes anything better. I think a lot of times we have this idea in our mind that, it's better if I just don't say anything. It's better if I just keep to myself because what I have to say is not important. Or it's just going to get us down a rabbit hole. All of that may be true. Trust me. If you've been in a meeting with me, I have probably said something that was either not super important or it really was like, thank you so much for that observation, moving on. But we want to make sure, again, we have to say something. Camry Jean, and you knew this was coming, but a couple years ago, when we had the expired allergy shots, Camry had a choice in that moment. Now, she made the choice to stay silent for a little bit longer than she should have, but she did finally say something because she finally was like, I know I'm new, but that's not right. I know that we probably shouldn't be giving expired vials. But it's things like that. It's like, I know that it can be so scary when you're sitting in a room full of people. I mean, heck, this is scary right now, having to sit up here and talk in front of y'all. But I know that it's important. I know that it's important for us to learn these cultural standards. I know it's important for us to have this conversation. The same is true at any meeting that you're a part of. Let's take the CATS meeting. Each one of you are at the table. You are not watching from 30,000 feet away. You are not just a bystander. You are an active contributor in that meeting. We need everybody to be on their A game in that meeting. If you've got an idea, say it. That doesn't mean that the idea will be taken, but it is important for perspective. It's important for you to share, hey, I really think this could be great. Maybe not in that season, but it doesn't mean we won't come back to it. Someone who has grown in this so much is Jess. Jess used to sit in our meetings, and she would just, sit there. This girl's got a lot of ideas for days. So does Ashley A. They're just my twins. But they have ideas for days. Sometimes those ideas, I'm like, heck yes, let's try that. And sometimes I'm like, heck no, we're not doing that. And that's okay. But they make me think. I'm like, I didn't even think about that before. I didn't even think that could be an issue. And Jess is so good. She's like, have you even thought about that? No. But now I am. And I'm going to see, does this need to make a change? Again, you have value. You are on this team for a reason. You are at this table for a reason. We need your contribution. Because if this organization is dependent on me, if it's dependent on just Harley, Riley, Dr. Masterson, we'll only go so far. But each one of you have unique life experience. You have unique patient interactions. That is what is going to make us a better team. And then lastly, we've got commit fully, even if you disagree. And I want y'all to think of burn the ships when we think about this. Because when we come to a decision as a team, we are committed to it. So let's go back to our meeting example. And let's set the scene of Strategic Planning 2024. It's me, Dr. Masterson, Riley, Zach, RIP. And I had to do it. RIP to my homie. It was a good run. And Brandon. And we're all sitting there. And, again, your girl has your girl's got a backbone. But she's also got a really big problem of sitting on something, not saying it, and then blowing the whole thing up about 4 hours later. So we're at strategic planning, and we have talked through the app, our beloved app, and we have talked through our whole plan. We're like, we're going to get this many people on it. We're going to build this whole business around it. The whole time I'm sitting there thinking, like, I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think this. What about this, this, and this? Did I say that? No. I just kept going. 4 hours later, we are talking about, I think, ministry at that point. We were not even anywhere near the app. And it was if like this light bulb just went off. And I said, I don't think we should do the app. I mean, literally, it just came out. And I was like, uh-oh. If ever there was a time I was close to getting fired, it was probably that moment. It was probably this moment where Dr. Masterson's like, I know she did not just say that after we just all committed to this. And I remember thinking, I don't know why he's so mad. Like, at least I said something. At least I was honest. But why he was, upset, and rightfully so, and it took me a while to really understand this and know why it's so important, is because it wasn't that I spoke up. It wasn't that I was honest. It was that we had already committed to it. We had already committed to that was going to be a priority that we did, and I was involved with that. I said, you know what? Yes. Let's go for it. But then a few hours later, I'm blowing it all up. So I wasted our time. The meeting wasn't very productive. And then we had to circle back to about 2 hours of conversation that we'd already gotten through because your girl just couldn't hold it in. She couldn't commit. And so that's where this comes in, is that we have to commit fully when a decision is made. That does not mean that you will always understand, doesn't mean that you will always agree, but if we are committed to the overall mission of what we're doing, there has to be a certain level of trust. There are plenty of times in the executive team meeting that I will say an idea and Dr. Masterson doesn't agree or Riley doesn't agree, whoever doesn't agree, but the team decides, you know what, let's just give it a go. That doesn't mean that everyone was in consensus, but it does mean that we were all committed. And that's what's most important. It's this idea of burning the ships. Once we've decided it, we're all in. We're all treating it like it's our decision. It's not just, oh, that was their idea, so I'm not really going to worry about it. No, I'm going to act as if it was my idea, and I'm going to see it through. I want it to be successful because I believe the best of the team. I want the business to thrive. I don't really care about me. And so I'll leave you with this story. Rogue play call. Let me set you another scene here. So, 2010 NCAA men's tournament. We have got Michigan State versus Maryland. And so, we're in the final seconds of the game, and they call a timeout because it's at the point where it's like, okay, this is like a one-possession game. What are we going to do? And so, Michigan State, they draw up a play, and they had a plan of getting the ball to one singular player. The coach called for this play because he knew it would work. All he knew was if we can get the ball to him, we will win this game. The whistle blows. They all get back out on the court. They're ready to go. A rogue play was done. A member of Michigan's team decided to go against what the coach had drawn out, and they ended up losing the game. What happened there? They weren't committed. He decided, oh, my way is better than the team's way. My way is better than being committed to what we wanted to do. And what happened? They lost. Because that's what happens when we don't fully commit to something, when we allow our selfishness in that moment to be like, no, I know better. No, you don't always know better. And maybe even if you did know better, that doesn't mean that the outcome is going to be better. We have to be committed as a team because we want to win as a team. We don't win as individuals, we win together. And so here is New York Liberty. They are the WNBA champions of 2024. And this is one of the best series, truly, the W has seen. They were against the Minnesota Lynx. But what was so great about this series is that every single game, it was obvious that both of those teams were going out there committed. They were going out there all under this, we want to win. But what's so neat about the game of basketball, what's so neat about just the game in general, is that it is all about this idea of respectfully challenging, speaking up even when it's hard, but committing even if I don't fully agree. So again, in this game, there are times where they had to respectfully challenge the coach. Hey, I don't think that's a good idea because of this, this, and this. Or speaking up in that moment, being like, hey, they are doing all of this. I don't know that this play is going to work. But at the end of the day, when the coach calls a play, they're not going to sit there and go rogue. They decide, no, I've committed to this team. I've committed to you as my leader, and we're going to get through this together. They have to trust each other. They have to be on the same page because this is what it's all about. We want to be a winning team. We don't want to be this disjumbled team that's just over here like, I'm going to agree with this person, but I don't really care about what that person says. I'm going to tear this person's idea apart because I think I'm better. I'm not going to say anything because I'm too scared. No. We're all here. We're all committed to the same mission. So we're going to respectfully challenge each other. We're going to speak up, even though it's hard, and we're going to commit. We're going to burn the ships because we know that moving forward together is the best way forward. Sound good? So let's snap our picture here. Again, respectfully challenging when something feels off. We're going to speak up even when it's uncomfortable. And then we know once a decision is made, we're going to commit fully and help it succeed. Because we know we're a better team when we disagree, but we what? Commit. Alrighty. So my challenge to you as we walk out of here is we're about to go into a breakout, right? We're about to go into the war room. Actually, we're about to go into the film room. We're about to go into the film room. There's going to be some call-outs. There's going to be, hey, Harley, you missed that. Hey, CC, you didn't get that. I'm telling you, the real CC does get that real feedback too, even though we have our own CC. They are getting that feedback. Again, like last night in the Liberty versus the Fever game, Sabrina Ionescu is one of the best three-point shooters in the entire league. She was, I want to say the final was 1 of 8 from the floor. That's not good. But again, that did not mean she's not good. So in this meeting today, you are going to see red numbers. You're going to see red numbers that you yourself influenced. That does not mean that you are not good. That just means that there is a problem that can be fixed. So when you hear, hey, Camry, what happened here? Take a deep breath and know your team's behind you. We're all good, but we just want to get better for the patient. If you have an idea today, don't be afraid to say something. Speak up, even if it feels like, I don't think I should say anything. Just do it. It'll probably come out like a machine gun the first time, and you're like, whoa, maybe I should have said that a little differently. But you'll learn, and it'll be great. And then when we get to the end of the meeting, if we have a plan, if we've discussed something, what are we going to do? We're going to burn the ships because we are all committed to this mission and we're committed to each other. Sound good? All right, let's go have a good meeting.